We are going off the rails. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this show about Disney tangents. I am your host and conductor, Craig Williams, and joining me today for this wild ride, we have Deni Sunderly.
Hi there.
We have Rhino.
Hello.
And we have Jackie Gailey.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. We have a very fun episode for you. Well, hopefully it's fun. But before we get started with it, we need to remind you this is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content and you want to support us, please consider booking your next vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you no extra money, and you get that world-class level of support from a Dreams Unlimited Travel agent. So head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today for your free, no obligation quote. Now, oh man, it has been a wild week for Walt Disney World. And of course, that's because of the 50th anniversary celebration of Walt Disney World, which I feel like we are starting to border on talking about it ad nauseum. You know, we have really hammered this topic into the ground as far as I'm concerned. But you know what? That's the whole point of Off the Rails. When we think we've gone too far, we push it the next step further. But seriously, I've been able to share some of my thoughts on the 50th anniversary. Rhino was able to awkwardly share his thoughts on our Tuesday show when he was put on the spot. And clearly he wasn't prepared to talk about it, but he still got forced into it anyways. And Deni didn't really get to share hers, and Jackie wasn't there. So our whole little Brady Bunch group that we normally have, we are back from our individual houses just so we can get something out while it's still timely, and we'll be back in the studio, I guess. We'll be back in the studio real soon to continue going off the rails in our normal fashion. But I wanted to give a chance for all of us one more time, about particularly the fantastic females in our group, to really share their thoughts on any aspects of the 50th anniversary: the good, the bad, what went wrong, what went right, what could be fixed with it. There's lots of questions. Who has answers?
Oh, my goodness. You go, Deni.
I can start if you want me to. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start with the good. Just getting to be in the Magic Kingdom on Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary day was, to me, incredible. My husband and I stayed on property, made the decision months and months ago to be able to do that, to possibly streamline the whole process the morning of. We wanted to be in the park as early as we could be. We didn't want to have to fuss over cars and this and that and the other. We just wanted to be able to get there as quickly and expeditiously as possible. And it worked out. In a time where we're debating the benefits of staying on property, there was one that rose to the top on Friday. It was the fact that the bus was getting there at 6:30 in the morning. And as a resort guest, I could get into the park 30 minutes in advance. Now, that was a little muddled on Friday morning because the crowd was so vast, so early. The leadership decided to go ahead and let people enter. So there were people in the parks before resort guests. But on a typical morning, that's the way it should work. Like, resort guests get their early morning entry. So I want to start with that. That was a thumbs up from the word go on Friday. And then just to be there, because they corralled all the resort guests to the right-hand side. If you're looking at Cinderella Castle, to the right-hand side of the castle, kind of over on that side of the hub. They corralled us over there. You could go ride rides, but absolutely no one wanted to do that. We all wanted to see the return of the morning show and just the morning greeting show, which was really neat to be able to kind of be there, have our own little section to be able to watch from, although I would argue that non-resort guests had a better view that morning, that's for sure. But just to stand there, like, I looked at my husband at one point and went, I've never been in the Magic Kingdom for sunrise before. Like, it was wild to walk in and it's dark, and then to be able to stare at that castle and just see that early morning glow happen from the sunrise was breathtaking. It was a celebratory, just feeling all the way around. The cast members, the other guests, most of them. And it felt really, really good. It was fun. We were there for fun. I know that some people were really disappointed. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I know that some people were really disappointed that we didn't get this big hurrah with a 50th speech from someone. I know you all got it, Craig, at the media event the night prior, but I was just really excited to see the morning show return. Give me 3.5 minutes of Mickey and his friends dancing around in their costumes, welcoming me to the Magic Kingdom, and I'm a happy camper. That's what they gave us. The return of that show was enough for me. I know it wasn't necessarily enough for others.
Yeah.
Per se.
It's tough because I feel like fans wanted that extra thanks and acknowledgement, which I totally understand too. But as someone who has had the chance to listen to Disney executives talk at media events and expos and other sorts, it's really not that interesting. If you look at them like they're celebrities, because you know what, they kind of are. I get it from that perspective. But, anyone who was watching the live stream had the chance to hear the two Bobs give their speech. I promise you, there was nothing more captivating about being there in person as there was watching it from at home. And if it would have been that same speech on that morning, it would have been the exact same awkward feeling with it. Maybe just a little bit more excitement in the crowd, but it's not that glamorous. But yeah, at the same time too, it is nice as a fan to be acknowledged for, hey, this is an important day. We're glad we're here. We're glad you're here. So I do get it from that perspective. But I think I mentioned on the Tuesday show, I would have much rather, instead of the whole speeches from the executives, give me some of the cast members who have been here since 1971 and kind of roll out in that fashion and do that kind of celebration. Celebrate the cast members and the guests, not executives for the paychecks they'll be getting next year from all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
for sure. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. But I do agree with you, Deni, on the sunrise. I was not there in the park for sunrise, but I stepped off. I got on the monorail as soon as it was still dark. And by the time I looped around to the Magic Kingdom and stepped off, the sunrise was just hitting like the contemporary. And I was like, wow, I've never seen this before because I've never been here that early. I skipped when they did the 24-hour days. I skipped coming at 6 a.m. I always did the overnight. So I was like, wow, I've never seen it. I'm so used to seeing beautiful sunsets in Orlando, but never sunrises. So a cool moment for sure. But Jackie, get in on this. You were a virtual visitor for the 50th anniversary, so you still have to get down here and experience all that magic and thrill. But what did you think about it from the comfort and luxury of your own home?
Well, so it's interesting because I was at Disneyland for the 25th, or no, I was at Disneyland for their 50th. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I didn't mean to say 25th, for their 50th. And it was so cool to be there. And I couldn't believe that I was okay with not being at Walt Disney World for their 50th. I couldn't believe it, but I was really okay. And after watching and reading the excitement and seeing the pictures everywhere and the videos everywhere, I had this calm about me that I was really okay right here in my house, and knowing that I would have been really uncomfortable if I was there, because friends, we are not done with COVID, and the crowds gave me, like, I was kind of anxious even just seeing the crowds on my screen, because from every angle there were so many people. So I watched it from different, people would film quick Instagram reels, and some people put up little tiny clips on Twitter. but I saw it horizontal, I saw it vertical, I saw it in many different ways from many different people. And I was really happy by the time it was said and done to just be right here. And it felt like magic to me. So I felt like I was a part of it somehow, just because I was watching it in real time. So thanks to social media, you know, those of us at home get to sort of just soak that all in. And while it definitely wasn't that adrenaline that gets going when you're standing there in front of that stage and you're seeing those characters in those gorgeous outfits, I feel like I got enough of a view and enough of the visual to feel still magical without being shoulder to shoulder with people, which still really gives me the heebie-jeebies right now.
I do want to jump in though and say that in terms of the crowd levels at Magic Kingdom on the 50th, I was actually shocked by how easy it was to get around for the majority of the day. The moments that you're talking about that were stressful really did center around trying to be as close to the castle for that opening show, which you could have easily avoided it. You know, Mickey literally, you spent more time seeing Mickey and the gang during their freaking cavalcade than you did seeing them out on the stage. So I don't want to say it was worthless because I'm happy I saw it, but it was a worthless moment for the most part in terms of how packed I was next to everyone. And then obviously for fireworks, we all know that whole issue with it. But beyond that, like if you didn't care about waiting in long lines for popcorn buckets, that even then they were controlled lines. If you were like waiting in a smart area for your food to be ready, as long as you weren't putting yourself in the crowd areas, it was actually really enjoyable. So I do agree with you, Jackie. There was those certain moments where it's like, okay, this is nutso. But for the most part, this was one of the best case scenarios they could have had. And I think a lot of that is because of the park reservations and really putting a limit. And like for Park Hopper, Rhino experienced it firsthand. They allowed park hopping for maybe an hour max. And then after that, it was gone. You could not, if you weren't in the Magic Kingdom.
It came back.
It did?
Throughout the day. Yes, it did. Yeah.
Oh.
So it was gone when I got in there after an hour, and then it came back before we left because my friend, as I was leaving on Main Street, literally had just gotten off the bus park hopping and walked right in.
Oh.
And then also because I had left the park, gone to Animal Kingdom, and when I was on the bus from Animal Kingdom to Hollywood Studios, a cast member got on the bus and said, just to let everybody know, they just reopened park hopping again to the Magic Kingdom. So if you're looking to go over, if you want to get off of this bus and get on the Magic Kingdom bus, you are more than welcome to just switch right now and run over there. So it was intermittent. It definitely kept closing and reopening though, because it was. I remember being like, she's aggressively trying to get us to Magic Kingdom, and I'm like, but these other parks are completely empty. So like, I'm just gonna,
yeah.
Kind of
that was nice that they came on and said that though, you know, just in case.
Oh, I'm shocked because I based it on the push notifications on my Disney experience. We got the one that it closed. I never got one that it reopened. So
I don't know if they were sending them out to say it reopened. So I think you had to either be like calling the number, which is what I did to make sure when we were on the way over there that it was okay. And then this was like the blue shirt, black pants cast member that carries like an iPad around. So I don't even know what the role was. It wasn't like she was a driver or anything like that. But so they were clearly trying to communicate that because they probably, I'm assuming they didn't want people to feel like they weren't allowed into the, trying to get as many people as they can in to experience it on the day, because that's what people are at Disney World to do, I'm assuming, on that weekend, and more or less, Yes.
Yeah. See, I feel like if I would have been there, I would have wanted to not necessarily go around and ride attractions, but I would have wanted to see the special things, which is where all the crowds were. And so, so that's where I felt like, I'm glad to be sitting right here, actually.
I do want to say that cast member, the time that she came on the bus was also before fireworks. So it was still, the sun was setting, like it was darker outside but it was definitely before fireworks. So I was shocked, like when she said that. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jackie.
No, you're good.
Come fireworks time, I don't know that you could put another friend in the park. It was wall to wall peeps. In all the areas that you could kind of catch a glimpse of the fireworks or of Main Street or of the castle. Everything was very done in such an orderly fashion. They were even filling up viewing locations from the bypass. I don't know how great it was to view the fireworks from the bypass, but even like they had thought of every nook and cranny to be able to get as many people in as possible. And you had to just decide, am I sticking it out during fireworks or not? And I stuck it out, and I'm so glad I did to be able to see them on the 1st. That was really great. But yeah, it's funny, Jackie, because yes, and I agree with you, Craig. There were crowds, there were people, but it was in pockets. It was pockets of crowds. So if you're waiting for one of the 5 really cool popcorn buckets, of course, there were lines that snaked away from each popcorn stand. If you were waiting for merch, of course, there were those lines to be dealt with. But even if you missed like the morning show on the forecourt castle stage, the characters came out intermittently and stood for what seemed like forever on the train station balcony. Like you could totally get a glimpse of everyone in their iridescent costumes. I didn't feel slighted in the least I saw Mickey more on the 50th than I would have on the 45th. So the characters were incredibly accessible. Craig, you mentioned their new celebration cavalcade. Like that was fantastic. There's 2 floats in that cavalcade. You get to see everyone in their super cool costumes. Like
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. You don't get a parade, but you get a 2-float cavalcade. So it felt very, very accessible. Yeah. So it felt good.
It was so cute to watch from home too. That cavalcade was adorable.
It really was.
So I want to transition now into, let's say, I don't know, I'm stumbling over my words so much here, but it's going to come out eventually, I think. I want to each of us bring up something that we think was good about the 50th anniversary celebration and one thing that we think is bad, because we need to be fair about this. There were good aspects that will continue to be good, and there were bad aspects. And I want to kick it off if I can. I think Deni will probably end up chiming in on mine and potentially even Rhino too. I think the best thing to come out of the 50th anniversary celebration is the massive amount of new foods that have debuted all across Walt Disney World as part of the celebration. They gave these menus, for the most part, a shot in the arm without also eliminating a lot of your standby favorites. And as a repeat visitor, I'm not even talking local, anyone who comes to the parks quite often, this is now at that moment where everything feels like really fresh in terms of dining. There's new items at all these restaurants. It feels like it's finally something new. And I know I've had the option to try, not the option, but the opportunity to try, I think about 4 or 5 different items now from the anniversary menu. And each one I thought has just been really, really pleasant. From the hot dog to another hot dog. They're like really going all in with chili and Walt for some reason. The only thing that I've had where I'm like, meh, is Rhino's chicken. But
oh yeah,
beyond that, I think that's a great aspect of the anniversary.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely. I mean, just just looking at what there's 72, I think it was, new items in the Magic Kingdom alone for the 50th. So if you are at all a foodie or food motivated, then you're going to really enjoy yourself. And I would say definitely look at the list before you roll into the park if you're planning a park visit soon, so that you know what your top choices are going to be, because there's only so much stomach space, right? We would love to be able to roll around and just eat and eat, but we all know you get full at some point. So make sure you really you get the top ones on your list. But I mentioned it on the Tuesday show, but getting to eat at Crystal Palace on the 50th was so much fun. I had not been there since my kids were little. And so just to roll in there and have that experience, we had a lovely table off to the side of the restaurant overlooking the water. And it was just a lovely respite in the middle of, a dawn to dusk Magic Kingdom day. And they had they had retooled that entire menu. They have put Walt's favorites, and they've marked them as such on the little placards so that what you're choosing was actually something that Walt enjoyed. And I don't care what it is. If you put Walt's name on it, yes, please. I would like that and another, because the more that we can bring Walt into this park, into this resort, is a really, really good thing.
Yeah. I mean, he never stepped foot in it. So if we can bring his spirit in, then at least we'll have that. So, Jackie, virtually at home, what was one thing that you thought was good from everything you were watching?
I love all of the additions that are everywhere. So I love seeing gold here and gold there, and from the statues to they always have the Mickey pumpkins in the fall on all of the lamps, the street lamps, and they have switched those over to pumpkin carriages. And I love Cinderella. I love the story of Cinderella. I love everything about Cinderella and Cinderella Castle. And so while I love those Mickey pumpkins so very much, I just love that those little details everywhere have been changed or updated, or just something everywhere you look. It's always those details. And I love that they're even different details. Like in an article that Deni wrote about some of the decor, one of her pictures is my favorite, and it's of a lamppost, and it shows the bottom with the gold. There was gold wrapped around the bottom of it, and it was just beautiful. I think it was a lamppost. Mm-hmm. Just really beautiful. And I just love all of those extras. I love the swirls around the castle turrets, and just all of that decor has been my favorite so far. Even the character costumes. I mean, just all of that. I love it.
Fantastic. Rhino, one good thing.
I mean, I do like you said, that there's going to be a lot of different food options. So there's a lot of stuff to be look forward to going around and kind of trying to hunt those out. And it is weird how heavily they have gone into chili. I think that is they were like, this man only liked one thing, chili. So I find that weird, especially considering Florida is 100 million degrees at all times during the day, that chili is what they leaned into. But you know what? I was at Dinoland and I had the corn pie chili thing that was supposed to be one of the events. It was delicious. So, and it was hot that day. So I'm happy for that sort of thing. And
wait.
I don't know.
Was the dish that you had where they basically put chili on top of Fritos?
Yes, which is the only way I like to eat chili.
Okay.
So I was okay with it. I was also starving, so anything would have tasted good at that moment in time.
I just had to check. They gave it to us at the media event, and we were all confused because it was like 2 servings of Fritos and then the smallest amount of chili drizzled on top.
It was not a lot of chili. Yeah, it was like you took a regular spoon. It was like, boop, there you go.
No.
And you're like, Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've looked up pictures, and I guess that's kind of the thing. It's supposed to be like a lot of Fritos and stuff. And like I love a good Frito scoop. That's the only way to eat chili. But I I don't know. I haven't seen Enchantment in person yet, so I'm not passing my judgment on it. Like I already said, I have not watched anything to do with Harmonious because I want to see it in person. And I think the ball looks really, really cool though. Like that's where I'm like, I got to go over there because I think I like it when it's those like orangey sunset colors. Like, and again, I haven't seen it in person, but everybody's photos, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something where I'm like, I'm sure it's here to stay, but it's one of those where I'm like, this is the one where I was like, yes, this is exactly right. You need to do this. I liked I said it on the Tuesday show, but I do really like the Beacons of Magic as much as I made fun of them in the commercial because the commercial for them is absurd. It's like a family and a picnic in the park or something. And I'm like, what? But like they legitimately, they add a nice accent to the park that I kind of hope it carries through in the future, that we kind of light up the icons, or not even the icons, but different areas of the park that way. Because the difference I feel like between Disneyland and Disney World is that Disneyland is so beautiful and vibrant at night. And I'm not saying Disney World isn't, but Disneyland feels like it was literally designed to be lit up at night. And Disney World, it oftentimes can feel like an afterthought, especially at Epcot. And that's why I'm like, I'm looking forward to, I would love to see more of that kind of like carry through, that like really nice, not just like here's a light bulb, but this really cool accent. And I don't know, that's what I like. I like that sort of thing. And I like that the merchandise kind of keeps coming out, that like every day I go see, I'm like, oh, there's a new thing I didn't see before. There's a new thing I didn't see before. And I hope it all that stuff kind of keeps going, because we're literally only at the beginning of this celebration right now. So I feel like it's really harsh to be like, it feels like everybody's thinking about it as something that already happened. And I'm like, I didn't even like fully experience the 60th celebration at Disneyland. And we did not fully talk about it and celebrate it on the Diz until almost a year after it started. Yep. It was like the following year we did all those events. And you know what? It was fantastic. So when we get 9 months into this event, you know, if I'm still feeling like, oh, what happened to the event? Then we should have a conversation. But we're just getting started.
I do think that's also one of the bad aspects of it, is that, you know, let's not beat around the bush. Ratatouille was not supposed to open as part of the 50th anniversary. Harmonious was not supposed to open as part of the 50th anniversary. I can't tell you about Enchantment one way or another, but I'm also not going to crap talk it, because I've said enough now that I do actually enjoy the show. And it's not because I'm trying to keep media passes. So just going to say that for the 9,000th time already with it. But like with some of these additions coming that weren't supposed to be part of the celebration, I do believe it kind of gave them an unfair advantage, because then it no longer became about, oh, these were just things that would have been open and we'd be experiencing during the celebration, but became now that the celebration is kind of about them. And that's not really fair to them. And I'm saying that as someone who didn't care for Harmonious. I do think I also gave it an unfair advantage. That doesn't change my standpoint on it, but yeah, I was probably not as nice as I could have been with it. But I am, you know, that being said, it is a long celebration. Tron, big question mark on if that's actually going to open during the celebration, but it is nice to know at least that we will be getting Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind by the end of it. And I had the chance to go in that building during the media event, and they later showed it on, I think, Good Morning America or 2020, one of those shows that they were doing, so everyone could get a glimpse inside. But holy cow, buckle up for this thing. It's going to be awesome. And James Gunn already said his birthday present is they're getting to work on that video. So literally
amazing.
I think we are like right at first I was telling AJ from Disney Food Blog as we were pulling away from the building, she asked me when I thought it would open, and I was like, I don't know if 2022 is going to happen, but 2023 seems like it's definitely going to be solid for that. And so we're driving away, and then hours later to find out the announcement that, oh yeah, it's going to open in 2022. I was like, okay, it looked like it was absolutely 100% finished inside, besides having the videos being added in and then syncing up the ride to it. And then obviously the exterior of the main Wonders, the main building, it's Wonders of Xandar. right? Is what they're
Yes.
calling it. So it's
The Other World Pavilion.
The Other World-
Other World
yeah.
Showcase.
They're-
The Other World Showcase.
the
Right?
9,000 things they're calling it, but like this thing,
Yeah.
it's gonna open during the celebration, and I'm now like officially pumped for it. So I just made a
I
bad
would-
into a good, but we can ignore that.
Well, I'm curious. Do you think like maybe we could place bets, but like what'll be the 1 year mark for like we're 1 year into the celebration of the 50th anniversary? Like, will Guardians be that big like October 1st, 2022? But I don't know. You're saying as
It
far
would be
along
the
it is,
it's
but-
the 40th. So yes.
Yeah, it would be the 40th of
Yeah.
Epcot, so
Yeah,
that would be
so
the
that would
date
make
to
sense,
shoot
yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would
And then
also
they can- you said they're doing wrapping it into the celebration more, even though it's not really technically part of it.
yeah,
But whatever.
It would make sense to debut on Epcot's 40th, but at the same time too, I could also see them pushing for like a Memorial Day launch if they
Yeah.
could possibly have it done that quickly. But Memorial Day in the past has been a time where they really try to get new attractions open, right, to kind of push into the summer. So we'll have to see on that. But who's gonna? I threw out my bad thing. Who else is gonna throw out a bad thing? Be honest.
I mean, I will be honest with you. You said the good thing, and I'm like, yeah, lights and stuff, and I feel like it's still to me like I think everybody who's a fan of anything, when stuff is all happening at once, we get very excited about it, regardless of what it is, and then we can sit with it for a few minutes, and then we're like, oh, you know what? I didn't like this as much as I thought I did. It's like when you watch a Spider-Man movie on the day it comes out, you're like, I'm into it, and then you keep watching, and you're like, not as much. Like, I'm looking at you, Far From Home, but I'm not into it as much as you guys are. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't feel like it. I don't feel that pull with it yet. Like I was not at Magic Kingdom for a long time, and like it was cool. It was interesting to see that everybody was there to just stand in the streets and not be on attractions. So that was a weird thing. I loved my time at the other parks, being able to just walk on stuff and everything, but I don't know. I don't know what else we have to look forward to. And obviously they can't release it all at once, but there is this weird uncertainty where like, I'm looking for, I don't know. I'm sure that we're going to get more stuff announced when it gets closer to the holidays. You know, in the lull, that'll be like the spring of next year or something. I'm sure there'll be another, like Galactic Star Cruiser, isn't that March, and stuff like that. And so I'm sure anything that happens between now and then will be part of that celebration. But I'm worried this thing is going to lose steam so quick. I feel like it's going to be kind of just the thing they slapped the name on. It'll be like the sticker on the monorail. It looks real good right here, but once you pull back, why is there no sticker on the rest of the monorail? And that's going to be a metaphor for this whole celebration.
That is a question. I want to know the answer to that question, actually.
I don't understand that sticker at all.
I don't understand the sticker either.
It was budget
What's
crunches.
the sticker?
Budget. Yeah.
Somebody ripped it and they were like, just put it on. No one will
Yeah.
ask about it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
There's no half sticker. There's no half sticker.
Well, there is, unfortunately.
Evidently.
Yeah, there is now.
So, Jackie, from at home, what's one bad thing that you noticed that you didn't like?
Well, okay. So bad is kind of you guys know that I usually love everything, right? So I watched the Disney Parks blog live stream of Harmonious, and I was irritated after it because I didn't understand the show. I didn't understand it. And I woke up the next morning and I was still kind of like, I don't get this. I don't get it. And so I wrote this whole article about it and why I don't understand it and yada, yada, yada. And then Craig published his lovely video of this exact same fireworks show. And it really changed my mind a lot because of that view on my screen. And it was different. Craig's video was so different from the Disney Parks blog live stream that it was almost as if it was a completely different show to me when I watched his video. And so I feel like maybe Disney might stop doing these live streams on the first night debut of a show because of how very different that show looked on screen than how it looks in person. So that was kind of a bad, like, the show is absolutely gorgeous. And they did such a nice job with everything that they did as far as the projections go and the water and the everything. It was just really, really cool to me. But that view is a big deal. And so I think that we need to see it in person before we see it on a screen. So,
Okay.
yeah, that was, I mean, it's not necessarily bad, but kind of.
Okay. Okay. Deni, take us home.
Yeah. Okay. All right. First off, I just want to say I enjoyed Disney Enchantment. I really did. I thought it was a great show. The lovely Miss Angela Bassett, like the whole, the pieces, the transitions from the different pieces, the emotional beats that they wove into it, the whole 9 yards. I enjoyed Disney Enchantment. And then the flip side of the coin, bless its heart, is Harmonious. And it's hard because Epcot being my favorite park, I want the nighttime spectacular to be reflective of it. And when I really analyze, I have the show, I think the thing that I'm most dissettled, with is the thought, or unsettled and disenchanted with, is the fact that I don't think it's congruent or reflective of the park experience at all. I think that the nighttime spectacular should be the cap on the end of your park day. I think it should be the summation of your park day, and that it should encapsulate the experience that you have had thus far. And while there are elements of Harmonious that I do enjoy, I love the use of color throughout the entire show. Just gorgeous. I like some of the musical arrangements. Like I said, I think I said this in the Tuesday show, I love the incorporation of the international languages. More of that, please. Because that is, I think that's reflective of the in-park experience, especially when the international cast members return. That'll be more reflective of the in-park experience. But I feel like there was IP shoehorned and kind of just crammed in around every corner of the show, and I'm not sure it is, like, those are characters. A lot of the characters are characters that we meet in other parks. We can't, under normal operating conditions, we can't meet those characters in Epcot, or we haven't been able to thus far. We have been able to meet Mulan, but I feel like the rendition of her song is not the strongest one. It just isn't. And I think for me, at the very beginning it starts with the first line of the show, when the narrator says, "All around us, the world is alive." And then she waits about 3 long beats and says, "With music." And to me, and then she continues, the beat would have been, "All around us, the world is alive with music," and spoken in a way that is anticipatory and excited. And instead, the narration is done in a very pensive manner and almost melancholy at the very end, where she bids you a good night in such a weird way. I'm like, oh, I think it's going to be a good night. I'm not sure. So, yes, I've hyperanalyzed it, but I've done so as an Epcot fan. And I want whatever they give us in the evening to be reflective of the in-park experience or the history of the park, as we had with Epcot Forever. I think Illuminations was very reflective of the in-park experience. So that being said, like you said, Jackie, seeing it in person is infinitely better than seeing it on the Disney live stream. That was crazy. And you kind of walked away from that going, what in the world was that?
Oh,
Craig.
good. Okay.
Yeah, no. Craig's video, fantastic. So please watch that. Ignore Disney and just watch Craig's footage, or see it in person, because it is better in person than in what Disney would hand to us for an at-home experience. Yeah. But that's kind of my thought.
It's a good thought. It's a good thought. And I think the important thing I want to move forward with now is, remember, these are our thoughts and opinions. And I know a lot of people out there have formed your own thoughts and opinions, a lot of them harsh. And you know what? I think it's completely warranted and deserved. When I left Harmonious and I texted Deni, and I have no problem admitting this, I said, I hate it. I told everyone around me I hated it, as I was watching my good friends Molly and Chloe crying about how beautiful it was. I'm just like, I hate it. And, you know, we all are allowed to have our own opinions, and I want everyone to feel like they are able to share theirs. So, of course, this is me saying, if you do want to share your opinions, go ahead and leave what you think in the comment section. I know you've been leaving them on the other videos, on the fireworks videos, on the Dis Unplugged Walt Disney World Edition episode, and I encourage you to also leave them here. I do go through and read all of them, and I want to know your thoughts. If you disagree with me or anyone else on here, that's okay. That's okay. We're not going to take it personally. The same way if I disagree with you, that it's okay. We all had our own expectations for these events, for the anniversary, and you know what? At the end of the day, I'm glad that we at least have a place that we all go together with our friends and families, and we can have those special times and moments and vacations. Because, you know, small aspects can sometimes come in the way of our enjoyment of the parks. But at the end of the day, there's also the bigger picture with it too. And I hope that we can at least remember that from here on out.
Remember me.
Okay. Hey, we got in the obligatory singing, but with that, I'm going to take us back on the rails. We're getting on the train tracks so we can get off the train. So thank you so much to my wonderful friends for having this conversation with me. Appreciate it, all of you. And thank you to everyone out there for listening and watching. Of course, again, please leave us your comments, thoughts, considerations all in the YouTube comments. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on the video if you're watching it and you're subscribed to the channel. And if you are listening to Off the Rails, please make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen. And if it's through Apple Podcasts, leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. And I don't think I have anything else to say about this, except for if you want to support us more, Dreams Unlimited Travel. Get that free no obligation quote today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. But that's it for this episode of Off the Rails. We'll see you again real soon with another episode. Take care. Bye-bye.